everybody. Welcome back to Around The Emirates podcast with Sara Mousa, where I speak to guests from across UAE about topics you want to hear about. Today, I have a multifaceted guest joining the show, Andrew Edwards, who is both a media expert and an entrepreneur. Welcome to the show, Andrew.
Thank you for having me, Sarah.
Thank you so much for taking the time to be here and share your incredible story. And I have a lot to tell me, so please begin. Let me know how you got into both the media and entrepreneurial spaces and
I moved to Abu Dhabi back in 2018 and was working as a nurse. That was my day job. And during I was actually in quite a lot of financial debt when I got here, and was saving my money up and cleared the debts. And then I saved up quite a lot of capital during the COVID pandemic because, as you can imagine, the workload increased at that time, and I was thinking about what I'd do with this capital that I'd saved. And I got into real estate, and I built the business from my bedroom, and it was 4,000 miles away in the UK. So I basically done it all through Zoom. I was working like in intensive care at the time, like some days, sometimes 6 7 shifts, 6 or 7 days a week. And then the evenings I was self-educating myself and building a team on the ground in the UK. So was a challenging one, but I got into property basically, and I was buying the rundown houses and basically renovating them and then refinancing them and renting them out as family homes. But it was a little bit slow for my liking to really generate some capital and revenue and cash flow. So I decided to set up a second business, which was Secret Abu Dhabi. Officially, it's called Secret Media Middle East because we have other branches which we're looking to expand into. But Secret Abu Dhabi, which is our first one, our first branch and location, is based on the best things to do in Abu Dhabi. So we are like a disruptive media agency that basically has like a top ranking website, and we create a lot of engaging content across social media platforms. So that's the two businesses.
that's incredible. So, I mean, you just talked about being able to handle two very different types of businesses at the same time and also starting it from your bedroom, essentially. In the process of creating these two platforms, so to speak, what would you say was your biggest challenge?
So for the real estate investing, when you're renovating a house and pulling it apart, like lots of things can go wrong. And I'm basically trusting people that I've never met, and I've met them online and over phone calls, much like this, really. And putting my trust in them after doing due diligence, but just not having as much control and relying on people, which sometimes can cost you more on projects than it needs to. So that's pretty stressful. The way I overcome that challenge, I suppose, is just getting rid of people that were no good and replacing them with someone better. So
That
and
usually
just
helps.
yeah, and learning from the mistakes. But it's the only way in business, really. And people are always, you're going to have some really good people you work with and some people who are always going to let you down. So it's just about learning along on the process and making sure it doesn't happen again. From the media perspective, building up brand equity takes a lot of time. Took me about 18 months before I got my first paying client. There was a lot of no's and rejections, and because I'm up against multi-million-pound or million-dollar media companies, so we're a disruptive one that's come onto the scene. But getting people to believe in marketing and media is quite difficult, especially if it's like above the line marketing that it's not trackable. So trying to convince people who maybe not, they don't believe in marketing so much. So and that's even if you're established, there are still some like people in the industry that they just don't believe in investing. So trying to get them on board is has been a challenge. But we were working with up to 15 5-star luxury hotels over Ramadan. So safe to say safe to say it's going good now, but it's been a very persistent effort. So yeah, so that has been the biggest challenge so far. But now that we've got credibility, we've got a big digital footprint now. People believe they know, trust, and like us basically now. So it really took a long time for that, but yeah.
I love the fact that you're like, "Now people trust and like me." I'm like, "That's always a good thing." But one common theme that I'm hearing in everything you're saying now is A, it's important to have the right team following you, and important to surround yourself with the right talents. And B, it is really important to be patient and to just kind of keep trusting in what you're building and make sure that that's like not a short term thing. And I'll ask you a bit more about that in my final question to you today. But just before I get to that, I'd love to hear in kind of even your personal life, has there been anything inspiring or just super crazy or interesting that you've experienced?
Uh, yeah, I had a quite a funny story that happened recently in Thailand. So yeah, I took my now fiance away to Thailand to do a surprise proposal, but I forgot to take her to the proposal by being lost in translation with some Thai people, basically, who were they were basically a company who I was working with over WhatsApp, and they said so we were staying in a resort, and they had planned it in another resort. So they text me to say, when you're in the lobby, just say you need to go to the toilet, and we will come and get you, and then we'll collect her 5 minutes after. So I was like, okay. So I was like, all right, I'm at the lobby now, and then I contacted the taxi man that they had arranged, and I got into the taxi, and we were driving to the next resort, and they were talking in Thai, and then he turned around. He's like, "Where's your girlfriend?" And I was like, "You said after the lobby to ask for the toilet." So and the sun was coming down because it was for sunset, right? So I had a tight time window, but we turned around and got it back in time. And we arrived. So the problem and this is something that's super important in business as well, is you can never be specific enough. You really have to specify. What they had meant was in the next lobby where the actual proposal was to ask for the toilet. So when we arrived to the hotel, the lady came up to me. She's like, "Do you need the toilet?" And I was like, "Yes, I do." I think that my girlfriend had knew something was up at that point, but anyways, we had made the sunset, and it all went pretty smoothly after that, but it was definitely not what I had planned, and was interesting. It made it a funny story looking back on it now, but yeah, all is good.
Well, I'm hoping she said yes. You said she's your fiance now, right?
Yeah, yeah, she did say yes, so it's all good, but it's quite funny just whizzing back through the streets of Phuket to try and, make it in time. I was stressed enough as it was, so
Well, I never thought I would hear the words toilet and proposal in the same story, but you have definitely outdone yourself for any of the other recent interviews I've done. And
yeah.
congratulations, of course. That is definitely one story for the books. And on that note of sharing advice for people in business or just in general, what words of wisdom would you like to share with the listeners today?
Um, it could really give advice for, entrepreneurs, investors, if I really had to say what's the most important thing out of my own experience, my background is healthcare, working in hospitals and intensive care particularly. It's just taking care of your health, getting the right nutrition in, exercising, and not like kind of looking at what's on social media these days, like, celebrating unhealthy habits. And because, I've basically seen tons of people die prematurely that didn't need to happen, or have like life changing illnesses just because they didn't take care of themselves. Some people would have had the resources and knowledge to know what to do, and then others, unfortunately, they're not as privileged enough. So that's a bit more understanding. So that would be like advice for everyone. For anyone who's looking to Not anyone. I think like going into business is not for everyone, and you'll see a lot of stuff online saying, you work for 40 years, retire, and then, work for somebody else's dreams and all of these things. And actually, that's probably the right answer for most people because it's incredibly stressful and you need a lot of resilience. And then also all of the other people around you, like your partner and family, they also have to deal with the roller coaster of entrepreneur ism. So, yeah, I would say, if you really want to go and open a business and do it, like go ahead and do it, but just be wary that it isn't for everyone, I don't think.
I think that's very valid. I think it's important to manage expectations when it comes to, investing or starting a business. It's not for everybody. It's something that some people have, some people just simply are cut out for other things. And that's not a bad thing. It just means everybody has their own path. But I do appreciate what you said about health. I think we underestimate the value of having strong mental and physical health. And I think it's really good that you are bringing this up as somebody who has, healthcare expertise and experience. And it's a very great way to end such a beautiful episode and a beautiful interview. And I'm really grateful that I got the chance to hear your story today, Andrew.
Cheers. Thank you for having me on. Thanks
Of
so much.
course. Thanks. Take care.
Uh,
Bye.
should ask everyone if they could online who listen to this, if they could give Secret Abu Dhabi a follow on Instagram, that would be
For
super
sure.
appreciated. Yeah.
I'll tag you.
Uh,
Don't worry. I'm gonna tag you.
all right. Thank you so much. God bless.